every person who called you driven was someone you were slowly leaving behind. They admired your focus, your discipline, your refusal to be distracted, but what they were really witnessing was subtraction, because ambition does not expand your life, it reallocates it, and the cost is almost always paid in people. There is a law in physics known as the second law of thermodynamics. In simple terms, closed systems move toward disorder. Energy, once directed somewhere, must come from somewhere else. There are no exceptions. A human life is also a closed system. You wake up with a finite amount of attention, a finite amount of emotional presence, a finite amount of energy. When you redirect that energy toward ambition, it does not multiply, it withdraws from conversations, from quiet dinners, from unremarkable evenings that never look important until they are gone. Ambition feels like addition, but energetically, it is redistribution, and redistribution always leaves something underfunded. No one warns you at the beginning. They celebrate your hustle, they praise your focus, they call you disciplined, but discipline often disguises displacement. The missed dinners feel small. The canceled calls feel justified. The weekend you promised to be present becomes another work session. You tell yourself it is temporary, just this quarter, just until the launch, just until the promotion. But relationships do not operate on future promises. They operate on accumulated presence. And here is the quiet mathematics no one mentions. Relationships compound only when you are there. Absence does not accrue interest. It accrues distance. Every missed moment is not dramatic. It is incremental. And incremental losses are the most dangerous, because you do not feel them immediately. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Confine yourself to the present." It sounds simple, but the ambitious mind cannot obey this instruction, because ambition is future-oriented by design. It lives in projection. The next milestone, the next version of you, the next threshold that will finally justify the sacrifice. The present becomes instrumental. People become supporting characters in a story about your eventual arrival. But life is not lived in the arrival. It is lived in the ordinary present, and the present is exactly what ambition trains you to ignore. In physics, disorder increases when energy is not maintained. In relationships, distance increases when attention is not maintained. You do not need conflict for a relationship to fade. You only need neglect, and neglect rarely feels malicious. It feels productive, necessary, rational. You convince yourself they understand, and perhaps they do, but understanding does not neutralize absence. Over time, something subtle shifts. They stop calling as often. They stop inviting you to things. They stop expecting you to show up, not out of anger, but adaptation. Humans adapt to absence, even when that absence hurts. And here is the cruelest part. By the time you reach the milestone you thought would make everything worth it, they have already learned to live without you. Ambition often carries a hidden promise. I will make it up later. Later, I will be more present. Later, I will slow down. Later, I will invest in what truly matters. But later is a dangerous currency, because people change. Parents age, friends move, partners adjust their expectations, children grow. The version of the relationship you plan to return to will not be waiting in suspended animation. Time moves forward for them too, and the laws of entropy do not reverse on command. At some point, ambition becomes identity. You are not just working hard. You are the driven one, the focused one, the disciplined one, and that identity protects itself. When someone points out your absence, it feels like an attack. When someone asks for more presence, it feels like sabotage, because to slow down would threaten the very structure you built around yourself. So you double down, you rationalize, You frame it as necessary sacrifice, but examine the pattern honestly. Is it sacrifice if you never intended to stop? Or is it abandonment, rebranded as purpose? There comes a moment, not dramatic, not cinematic, when the realization begins to surface. You are surrounded by achievements, but the room feels quieter. The people who once celebrated you are more distant, not because they resent you, but because they stopped competing with your ambition for attention, and you begin to notice something uncomfortable. Success amplified your output, but it reduced your presence, and presence is what relationships are built on. The world will applaud your ambition. It will reward your output. It will measure your worth in visible metrics. But relationships measure something else. Time given freely, attention without agenda, presence without calculation. Success that requires abandonment is not success. It is entropy disguised as achievement, because a life optimized only for ambition slowly becomes disordered in the places that matter most. And here is the question that lingers long after the applause fades. When you finally arrive at the version of yourself you were chasing, who will still be there to see you? And more importantly, will they still recognize you?